Build Your Business listeners. This is Matt Reynolds, your host for the podcast, and you are listening to what we are calling the legacy episodes. And really, these are the pre-episodes that really led to this podcast, the Build Your Business podcast. This is really my life's work and my brother's life's work in building your business. And so they were originally published in the Barbell Logic podcast as part of the Principles or Coaching Success series, but really touch on similar topics to the Build Your Business podcast: how to improve your productivity, how to set and accomplish your goals, deprioritize urgent tasks, to focus on what is most important to you, and most importantly, to become a better person and leader and business owner overall. I'm proud to bring you these podcasts. Again, many years of life's work, several years of podcasts, and several decades of business ownership. Hope you enjoy them and learn from them. You're listening to Barbell Logic,
the podcast where we talk about what it means to experience strength
and how you can use simple, hard, and effective strategies in training and nutrition to improve your life.
It starts with meeting you where you are right now and finding lasting solutions.
Welcome to the show. You're listening to the Barbell Logic podcast. I'm your host, Matt Reynolds. This is another episode of the Coaching Success series, and I want to dive right in today. This is going to be a heartfelt message. I don't have a script. I don't have bullet points, which means I'm probably going to forget some people, but I just want to talk about extreme gratitude and how grateful I am for the team that works around me, for my family, for my church. And, I've talked in previous podcasts over the last several weeks about enjoying the pursuit, not the outcome. And I think one of the greatest ways we can do that is to take a step back, see the forest through the trees, and just be grateful for the life that we're given. I mean, there's so many things. Literally, you could go to the 100,000 foot view. For most of you listening to this, you were born in America or in a first world country. You probably had parents that loved you. You have all of these things that were set up to help you succeed in life. And while we do a ton of work to make sure that we pursue those goals and succeed at those goals, there is a time that comes when you start to realize that this can't be done without an incredible team. It can't be done on your own. You can't scale the business. You can't have a high value family or value driven life, whatever that is, without the people around you. And so I just want to take a few minutes and just give some shout outs and talk about why that's so important to me. And I've thought about this a lot lately, as we are consistently talking about our strategy deployment, where we're going in the business and our game plans and things like that. I am so blessed and so grateful for the team that is around me that just make things happen. I don't have to micromanage. I don't have to stay on top of people. We've got a great system in place. It works really well. It's the kind of system that we're trying to teach in the Undoing Urgency book, as well as just in the free content that you're listening to here. And so I want to take just a few minutes and talk a little bit about my team. And I mentioned this, I think, in a previous podcast or even last Friday when I was talking to Nick Solin, my editor-in-chief, that writing this book was one of the great joys of my life. But had I been out on an island to do this all on my own, it would not have been. One of the things that I think that I have done well is hire great people to do great work that's far better than the work that I could ever do that they are hired for. And one of the things we've been able to do at Barbell Logic, where we were also very blessed, was that we had a great group of coaches. We had this core group of 30, 35 people who came in, and some of those people who were coaches, they were all coaches in the beginning. The cream started to rise to the top, and we started to see the need for employees, for workers to do things that were outside of the scope and practice of coaching. And so we started to make those people employees. And so most of you know the story. Nikki Sims is our very first employee outside of me. She is our CXO. She is incredible. She has an incredible pulse on the company, on our clients. And at this point, that encompasses Barbell Logic online coaching coaches to make sure that their experience, that their quality of life improves. Barbell Logic online coaching clients, where she gets a ton of help from Nikki Berman and Chrissy, and the whole CX team is just outstanding. But it now also includes turnkey coaches, which Andrew and Mac, and they do an incredible job of that. And Divium is a great story. This is a guy that lives, I don't know, 5, 6, 7,000 miles away. And Divium is a lifetime client of Block. Like, he ponied up the money a few years ago when we ran a sale where you could get a lifetime membership for a significant amount of money. And he paid that money. And then when it came time that we needed customer service, a specialist to help with coaches and onboarding coaches for TKC, he interviewed and he crushed. And he did a great job. And before him, we had Michael Burgos, who still is with the company. He's great. He just had some family tragedy this year, and Divium stepped into that role. I mean, I look back at these people and I think, like, my God, how did we get there? We have customer service for turnkey coach clients, so to help onboard them. We have customer service. CJ and the academy team do an incredible job for our students. And so really we have kind of those 5 major pieces. And then we also have the military, which customer service looks a little different, but Dan Shell does such an incredible job there as well. And all, as I've said, and will probably say 5 more times on this podcast, all of those members of my staff do a better job at their job than I could ever do at their job. And it is an interesting thing because when you think about it, I know there was a time in business where CEOs and owners and founders would talk about the staff as family. And there is a part of this where I've known these people for so long, for 10 years or 15 years or even longer, that they do feel like family, but it's actually more like a team. It's more like if you think about, a major dynasty team like the Bulls of the 90s, that you still have to perform and you're close and you do things together. And we have all these great meetings and we go sometimes on trips together for meetings and like business stuff. And I have a blast with those people. I mean, they're some of my closest friends, but they're really members of a team. And without those parts, the team starts to fall apart. And you need those, just everything firing on all cylinders. I'm super grateful to my team. And so Andrew Jackson is our chief operating officer, and the guy is perfect for the role. I don't think there's another person on the planet that's better for this role than Andrew. He is an engineer of engineers, but he's also an incredible people person, which is really rare for engineers. Engineers are typically like so logically minded, so systematic, and they can sort of forget about the human element. And Andrew doesn't do that. To be able to build a profitable service company, Andrew has to apply the things he's learned in engineering and software development and SaaS and lean manufacturing and apply it to people, to the human element, which is imperfect. And he does that incredibly well. His whole dev team is unbelievable. The work that David and Paul Hahn did to build the software, I'm so grateful for. They're still consultants with the company. Rest of our dev team, George and Certain, which is my brother's company. Again, so grateful to my little brother for the work that he does. I mean, he is really like a part-time CTO for us. He does a ton of third-party software development with his team for us, and he's a member of the board, as is Nikki. That team is incredible. And then Josh Veach as our CMO and really still kind of CIO. And we've tried to transition him as much as we can from more of his time being devoted to CIO to transition into more of his time being more focused as our CMO, where he has the biggest team on Barbell Logic, where he has the content, marketing, and sales team, what we call the CMS team. All the content we put out, Josh oversees. The written content, the podcasts, audio content, the video content, advertising, all of those things. And then his team is incredible. Paige is on the team. She's she's just like a do everything brand manager, graphic designer. Paige does a lot of work that you don't see behind the scenes that are internal proposals, pitch decks, things like that that never make it to the public. She does an incredible job. I'm super excited about our new hire, Daisy Parkhouse, who is our head of social media. Paige has done the social media for years and done a great job at it. but we've grown to the point that we need somebody that's dedicated entirely to social media. Obviously, we have multiple brands that we're trying to grow with Barbell Logic Online Coaching, with Turnkey Coach, with the Academy, and even with Undoing Urgency and some of my own personal brand. And so Daisy has done a great job just hitting the ground running, understanding who we are and how we're different, and then really trying to engage our audience. And so, there's a little bit of a lag there, but I think you'll see over the next several weeks, you'll see like, wow, Barbell Logic has really stepped up their game on their social media side. And so first, I just want to start by saying thank you to my mission control. Like, you guys are some of my closest friends and closest confidants, and we couldn't have done it without you. Like, that's all there is to it. And not just you, but also most of the members of the team. And so I'm very grateful for my mission control, which is really the top level C-suite at the business. I'm so grateful for Dan Shell, who continues to be my executive assistant, who continues to do administrative work on the content, but who primarily now is our director of military operations. He's a military guy, comes out of the Army. He knows the talk and can walk the walk. And, I'm a civilian. I don't know all those terms. I've had to try to learn the rankings. That marketing effort and writing proposals and sending in proposals is just a different animal than what you would do in the private sector, in the B2C or B2B sector. And so Dan has been an incredible joy in my life. I'm excited to go see Dan. I assume this is okay to say. He and his beautiful wife, Abby, they're expecting and they're going to renew their wedding vows in July. I'm excited to go see them up just outside of Columbus and experience that. And so grateful for him. I was looking through the acknowledgments in the book. Scott Hambrick, I'm sure some of you wonder, like, how's Matt and Scott's relationship? It's great. Scott's running a farm, but gosh, without Scott and without this podcast, I don't know what the business would be called. And we hit on something special in those years of 2017, 2018, 2019. I'm super grateful. He was able to take all of the probably 20 years at the time of things that I had learned in strength training. I was coaching him. I was his coach. He is obviously hyper intelligent. He could look at the way I would coach and the way I would make changes. And he's really the one that first came up with the idea of minimum effective dose and how we program. And so I'm so grateful for Scott as well. And then you move on to people like Nick Solin, who I got to talk to last weekend. I mean, like, what fitness company has an attorney and one of the best writers and copy editors on the planet as their editor-in-chief? The guy's incredible. Like, Nick is a heads down kind of guy. He's relatively quiet and introverted, although obviously we speak quite a bit, but he's not, a boisterous sort of personality. He wasn't going to be an attorney that was going to be in a courtroom like Kiesling was for us. That's like, wants to get in fights. He's not a shark. He is just a hyper intelligent, incredibly well-educated, and figured out how to communicate the written word in a way that is unbelievably effective for a broad range of demographics. I mean, he helps with the written word for B2C audience, for that like typical Barbell Logic client, for the Turnkey Coach for the Turnkey Coach client, for the proposals for military, for the book, obviously, in helping writing the manuscript. And so that stuff has been huge. I mentioned Nikki Berman on the CX team. She's another member of our leadership team. She is the best. I almost don't want to call her a salesperson. She's the best salesperson I've ever met who doesn't feel like she's doing sales, because she actually cares about people. And if she closes the sale, great, and she has a high close rate, but like, that's not her goal. Her goal is to meet the needs of her clients. And there was a time when I did all of that stuff, and then I would do that pretty well. You've heard me tell the story. I would like lose my crap every about 10% of the time on bad clients or complaining clients or whatever. And as Nikki Berman has taken on that role, and Nikki Sims at CXO, our customer service has just continued to improve. Our churn's been pretty consistent for years, but our churn has dropped significantly the last 3 to 4 months, under 2% for our B2C clients in Barbell Logic. Like, that's no contracts. That's no first month free. That's like, you can cancel anytime. In 30 seconds, you can cancel. And people don't cancel because the service is incredible. And of course, that leads me to people like Carl Schute, who helps coach the coaches in strength training, helps keep an eye on them, is an advocate for them, not a big brother for them. Brittany Snyder, who does the same for nutrition. to make sure we're bringing the best product to market that we possibly can. And so I'm just so grateful for all of these people. Just briefly mentioning the book, Nick was such a tremendous help in helping write the book. Paige Mueller with the graphic design illustrations that basically told the story of the game plan. And then in the first couple parts, Ted Kenyak, who is the illustrator, as you've heard me say, from Art of Manliness, he's done work with us in the past. He did such a great job of telling the personal stories, which are very vulnerable. The book is full of things that you've never heard before on the podcast. I'm just so grateful for the team to put that together. I'm grateful for Forbes and the way they've been incredibly supportive in publishing this book. Again, it comes out December 10th. That's not a sales pitch. I think it'll be very beneficial to a broad range of audience. And so obviously I have an incredible family. My wife, Rachel, has stood by my side through all these years, good, bad, and ugly, sometimes my fault, sometimes not my fault, but she's been there and been supportive entirely and totally trusting that I wasn't going to lose the house and that I wasn't going to go bankrupt. And to my daughters, who we've been able to pour wisdom into and help them understand that we're playing the long game. We're not playing a short game. And obviously to my mom and dad, who've been in tremendous support, after losing my dad a couple years ago, like I'm very proud of what I've been able to put together and take a lot of the wisdom that he taught me and put it out there for the world to learn. And so, the book is not my dad's wisdom, but it's so influencing. You think about music. I still love the music that my dad loved because that's what I grew up on. I grew up on James Taylor and the Eagles and Crosby, Stills and Nash and, bands like that. And my daughters have done the same thing. So, Rachel and I are children of the 90s. And so the kind of grunge era and Nirvana and Alice in Chains, Soundgarden and Metallica and whatever, my 13-year-old especially loves that stuff. And, Weezer, she wants to listen to that stuff all the time. And I think that is, eventually that develops into your own style. My oldest, Kaylin, 19, she has a style of music. She loves like just kind of indie stuff. And I mean, that's kind of what we got into when we were 19. We got really into indie movies and things like that our parents didn't really have a great influence on, but it was just kind of this world that we hadn't seen before. And so I'm so grateful for them. I'm grateful for my mother and father-in-law, Andy and Lori, Rachel's parents, who stuck by me in the midst of the storm and again trusted me to support their daughter and our family, even when the risk was high and potentially the reward was low. And certainly there have been times when it was the other way around, but that takes a lot of guts and a lot of trust. My brother Chris, who I mentioned, who helps run Certain, he's taken on such a great role, but he has been such a mentor to me, even though he's 3 years younger. And I always mention this because there's always this little bit of jab that like, why is your brother 3 to 5 years ahead of you in business, even though he's 3 years younger than you? Well, I was a public school teacher for 10 years. So I flushed that down the toilet for a decade. Certainly learned lessons there, how to control a classroom full of junior high kids and things like that. And so I've been able to do that. But in the book, if you've seen Hot Ones, where they eat the wings on YouTube, there's a scene there where Paul Rudd and Sean Evans are eating wings. And Paul Rudd says, "Hey, look at us. Hey, look at us." And Sean Evans says, like, "Who would have thought?" And Paul Rudd says, "Not me." Big smile. And that's me and my brother. I mean, we were able to break the cycle of generational poverty in the family and move the ball down the field. I'm so grateful for my little sister, who's 6 years younger than me. We did not have a great relationship growing up. That's mostly my fault. And we have a great relationship today. And she helps work for us and she's close friends with us. And we love her family. We love her. She's got twin daughters, my nieces. We love them. It's incredible. And so CJ and the Academy team, man, they absolutely crush the content they put out for the Academy. I'm so amazed at the quality of content that somebody like CJ and Rebecca Seigan and the team can put out. I can't do that. I can't put out such a hyper-focused level of content. Like I can speak like I do here on the podcast or public speaking or videos or whatever, but to sit down and really develop a curriculum, that's a whole nother deal. And I'm just so grateful for that. Over the years, we've had these times like being in a startup is massive highs and incredible lows. And the team has stuck with us all through all of it. Our turnover is so insanely low with our employees. we went over a year in this past year without having a single employee turnover. And then we had one employee turnover. They still stayed on with the company and continued as a consultant, as a contractor for us. So we didn't like really lose anybody. I'm just super grateful. And so some of this comes from, you maybe have heard of Gary Vaynerchuk. He's got a new book out. I haven't read it yet. I'm going to take it down to Florida. As you're listening to this, I've been in Florida now for a week. These are the things that start to well up inside me, and I start to just get overcome with gratitude. And I think, again, enjoying the pursuit of the goal, the greatest thing you can do is just have incredible gratitude for the people that helped you get there. And even if you weren't dealt the best hand in life, or even if you had to do more work than you thought it was going to be, which all of us do, you have to be able to reach back and say, like, look, there is something that has happened with the people that I'm surrounded by who help make this happen. There is, maybe for many of you, you understand there is a greater power that I don't even know why. Because I don't even know that if there is a great, like, does God even care about the success in the grand scheme of things? I don't know, but something has come together in the universe, and it's not just all about me. I mean, left to my own devices, I'm a mess. And so these checks and balances on the team and my family, I'm so grateful for my church that I'm part of and what they've meant to me over the last couple of years. It's just been such an incredible blessing. Obviously, I have tons of incredible endorsements and testimonials from the book. Jesse Meekum from YNAB wrote the foreword. It's such a great foreword. I've got great testimonials and endorsements from Brett McKay and from Jordan Harbinger and from all of these people who just have this incredible network. And they read the book and they responded back incredibly positively. And so, you know, you can kind of tell when somebody reads a book and they're just like, yeah, man, I'll write the testimonial. That they almost overwhelmingly, Thomas Frank reached out yesterday and he was like, bro, I can't I can't put down the book. You know, like typically when you try to get a testimonial for a book, you send them the first couple chapters of the book. I just sent the whole manuscript and said, you know, read the first couple chapters. If you want to keep reading it, read it. And overwhelmingly, those who are endorsing the book are like, I can't put the thing down. There's so many lessons to be learned. There's things to apply here to my life today. And it's just, again, I'm just overwhelmed with emotion and gratitude. And so I don't know what I did to deserve this. I think nothing, but man, I'm grateful that this is the life that I lead. You'll hear this at the end of my vacation in Florida. I'll be coming home. I leave in a few hours. I get to take my family to Florida, and we're just going to stay in a nice condo right on the beach and just enjoy our time together. And so the big lesson learned today is just take some time, if you haven't done it in a while, and consider the people that helped make this happen for you. The people who are constantly contributing to your life to improve your quality of life is such a huge piece of who we are. Again, staff, coaches that continue to rise to the top. Like, we've got the best coaches on the planet. Coaches, I'm so thankful for you at Barbell Logic Online Coaching. Obviously, I can't go through every single name there, but I'm just so thankful. I'm so grateful for not just what incredible coaches you are as experts, as well as experts in building relationship and trust, but also the way you buy into culture at Barbell Logic and understand who we are and how we're different. And so that's such a huge piece of who we are. You are some of my closest friends, and I'm great with that. You know, like there are times I wish we had an HQ in Springfield. We all lived here and we could hang out and go have coffee together and, you know, get off work and go have a beer together. But also I understand like the advantages of a business like this is that we get to do it from anywhere in the world. Just like I'm going to fly to Destin, Florida here in just a few hours, and I'm going to do online coaching in the mornings, and I'm going to shut down and spend time with my family. And so it's, I'm just super, super grateful. So thank you to everybody who's made this happen. I'm sure I've left out a ton of people on this list. If your name wasn't called, please understand there are so many other people, like, you know, the impact that somebody like Dr. Sullivan has had on me, or Jordan Stanton in the gym world and how to run gyms. My friendship with Michael Wolf, it's been 15 years in the making. I mean, so many of our coaches have been incredible. And then our content production team, I mean, Seth is incredible at post-production video. Steven is, I believe he's one of the best podcast producers of all time. Like, guy's unbelievable as a podcast producer, making us sound great. Sam, our videographer. I mean, Nate, who also does post-production for us. And it's like, it takes this massive team of people that you have to trust to be great at what they're great at, to put out a great product and a great service. And I never, ever, ever want to take that for granted. There will be a day I look back and am overwhelmed with emotion for the team that we got to put together at Barbell Logic. That, by the way, it doesn't mean that that's coming to an end. It's not. We are crushing. We continue to build. We continue to grow our service for Barbell Logic online coaching in the B2C sector, for the academy, for the students. We've got lots of plans there. The TV shows come out any day on PBS for Viewpoint and Empowered with Meg Ryan, Viewpoint with Dennis Quaid. I'm just so grateful for all those things, but I know that there will be a day I look back and I'm like, man, those are some good years. There's some good years. So thank you to our audience who listens to this consistently and has since 2017. Thank you. Thank you for letting us get the word out. Thank you for spreading the word. Thank you for telling others about us. And you're like, how can you be upset? How can you be stressed? How can you live a life of depression or anxiety when you have such an incredible number of people who are all on board with the core value of what we're trying to do, which is to improve people's quality of life by experiencing strength, whether at the coaching level or the client level, private sector, the public sector, government sector, whatever that is. And I'm just so thankful for all of you. So I want you to know, I know going into vacation, I'm going to think about this a lot. I'm going to come back refreshed and revived and ready to go. So this is sort of for me, it's helping me get into the right mindset of going into vacation. I'm just being so grateful for my team. Thank you for who you are and what you do for Barbell Logic. Again, if I didn't name you specifically, please know you are so appreciated. Thank you for being part of the team. So for those of you listening, if you have a team, take some time and have some gratitude. Even if you don't have a team, think about the family members and the friends and the mentors and the doors that open that you didn't expect or that you didn't deserve. My hope and my prayer for you this week is that you are overcome really with gratitude. You have incredible gratitude, because nothing will help us enjoy the pursuit more than understanding what an incredible thing we have when we understand what people have done for us. And so thank you to my team, thank you to my family, thank you to my church, and everyone who has helped contribute to our success at Barbell Logic. I hope you guys have a great weekend. That's another episode of the Barbell Logic podcast, coaching success series. It's time to be grateful and be overwhelmed with gratitude. So if this has brought you some joy, some value, we would love a 5-star review. As always, I ask for it every single week. It almost feels salesy to ask for it, but it helps us so much to continue to get our message out there for people who know there's a better way to train. You don't have to train and hate your body. You don't have to train and be in a meat market. Like, you can actually do this thing and improve your quality of life. You can do it as well, not just as a client, but as a coach, and improve your quality of life through Turnkey Coach. And that's what we're trying to do. You know, we're trying to change people's lives for the better. Certainly business success and monetary success and the growth of the company and all those things are super fun. But I think I'd feel very empty inside if I were doing something that I didn't think added value to the people in my life, from the mission control team, executive team, leadership team, the entire staff, all the employees, all the coaches, all the clients, everyone that uses Turnkey Coach. We're very proud of what we put out. We're never going to be satisfied with it. We're always going to keep working harder. We're never going to be like, and we're done. It's just not going to happen. And so thank you for those of you who supported us and supported me over the years. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that support. And so have a great weekend. Go tell the people that matter in your life that you love them and you're grateful for them. See you guys next weekend.